Hello, everybody. This is Cam, one half of the Sports Talk with Cam and D team. Here talking about another topic, man. Really like doing this. Just keeping up with the Joneses of the sports world and just talking about different topics that come across the news feed at times. Like I said, before we even get started, I would love to just say thanks for everybody that follows, that subscribes, that watches our content. We appreciate it and we just want to keep getting better. So of course give us some feedback in the comments and just keep on watching and we're gonna keep on getting better. Um also if you're looking to be a podcaster, man, there's a couple things you need. Um, like I said, one thing first and foremost is a microphone. If you check in our description, we have a wonderful deal on Amazon. Check it out. The toner mic is efficient, it's cheap, it's great actually. It sounds good, as you could tell if you're listening, watching this video. But that's one of the first things you'll probably need. But it's wonderful and it works. Take a look at it in our description of this video. And like I said, it works. So, like I said, without further ado, let's get into today's topic, man. So, today's topic is the top stories of the MLB second half, man. So, as you know, the All Star game is over and the draft is over. So some pretty big spots to as we move forward in the MLB season, right? So obviously, the trade deadline is really the next hurdle for team building going into the stretch run. If you're not in the stretch run, you're like the Oakland A's, Sally, you aren't really looking to make moves per se because you're gonna make your moves more so in the off season than anything else. But for the teams that are actively competing for playoff positions, it's important to look at your roster and make some moves, right? So, like I said, we discussed all the trade deadlines in the last video. But now I want to just get into the storylines moving forward, man. The things that people should watch, the things that people should be, tuning into as we move forward. So, uh, one thing that kind of stuck out to me is the New York Yankees, man. This is a team that spent a lot of money, man, in the offseason. Obviously, with Judge's big $300 million deal. And trying to add to their pitching staff with Rondon, who's been out with an injury all year. So um, it's gonna be tough for them to make a move, but the bottom half of that division is really close. So possibly they could sneak in as a second wild card team from that um, division with the Rays and the Orioles kind of fighting for first place at this point. So the Yankees could make a move at the trade deadline, but at this point, I don't think so. But Judge is the Yankee captain now, so they go as he goes. So if he can, muster up, some strength and fight through these injuries, or he'll probably just, they'll probably shut him down depending on what's going on. But I think he has earned the right to choose what he wants to do because he's going to be there for the long haul. But if anything positive is going to happen, it's going to center around Aaron Judge and his ability to play. And so that's one thing. Watch the Yankees and Aaron Judge and see what they do with him. Surprisingly, the team that has shocked me the most this season is the Reds, man. At the time of this recording, they are 2 games back in the NL Central of the Brewers. And that is a position I don't think anybody saw them in this year. I think everybody kind of felt like the Cardinals were the team to beat, and the Brewers would kind of do what they do and be solid and maybe get into the playoffs as a wild card. And then you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. But the Reds and the Brewers are the top of the division, man, and they are fighting it out. And it's interesting to see how much the Reds have grown, like in the last couple months or so. They have this excellent rookie player. He just came up not too long ago. Dela Cruz. He's really good. He does everything: uh, power, speed, average, base paths. Like he's everything that you need on your team, man. He looks like he could be a fixture for them for a very long time. And the excitement around the Reds just has everybody talking, man. So that's one thing to look at in the second half, man. Just to see what's going on, man. How they can do their thing, man. Can they get to the playoffs and kind of show some excitement, or is this just something that we'll talk about going into next season? But I can honestly say that a playoff run would be really awesome for the Reds, man. They've been kind of inept for a while, and it'd be good to see Joey Votto on the big stage again. You know, it's been a long time. He's a fixture in that franchise, man. Plenty chances to leave, but decided to put his roots down there, and now it's kind of paying off later. Better later than never, right? But he is definitely the leader in that clubhouse, and it's good to see them doing what they got to do, man. And the race should be good for the NL Central. So to keep our NL Central storylines going, the Cardinals, man, that's one team that I follow. Obviously, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, but I think that they are a team that's interesting, man, because although the Brewers and the Reds are, above everybody else, um, like I said, looking at the standings, the Cardinals aren't that far out. They aren't last anymore. As I'm checking the standings, they actually just overtook the Pirates for for second to last place. So one thing about the Cardinals is that they are good at making late season runs. You know, they scrape by through, the skin of their teeth just to stay relevant, right? And somehow they just spring together these late season runs, right? And they still play off spots from teams that maybe have played good all year. But like I said, man, I don't know if they have enough juice to do it. But the fact that you have Paul Goldschmidt, MVP last year, and Nolan Arenado, and those two guys are masterful in the infield as far as defense is concerned. So if they can, get their bats together, I think that that would be a recipe for a late season run. Pitching has actually taken a turn for the better. I like what Miles Michaelis is doing. He's been good the last few starts, man. So I like what he's doing, and if he can be the top dog as far as pitching is concerned, the guy we can count on, then maybe there's a chance. But everybody has to be hitting on all cylinders to make this happen because it was a rough first half, man. But like I said, the All Star break is a timeout for a lot of teams, and a lot of teams that maybe on the outside looking in maybe just needed this break to just kind of reassess things. But the Cardinals, have a track record of definitely making runs at the end of the season, but it's going to take a lot. So we'll see. Now, some individual storylines for players. I think the AL MVP race is completely over with. I don't think I don't think anybody else is winning that but Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he's top five in pitching. He's top five in hitting in various categories. So it's just looking like he's really putting the league on notice in a sense where I don't, like I said, I spoke about this in the last video that I don't think he's getting traded, but I know he's not going back to LA because it's not a winning formula. And they spent a lot of money on players that haven't produced in a very long time. So, and it's not looking good for some of the people they signed a few years ago. So I don't see him staying there because he wants to win. That's one of the things I've heard through various media channels is that that's one of his high criteria for joining the team, being able to win and taste that postseason, man. So I think that he's going to be able to vastly improve his financial gain this offseason, which is quite frankly going to be record breaking. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get the biggest contract in MLB history because you're getting a top five pitcher and you're getting a top five hitter, and whoever can get him is going to get a player that they can, win championships with and hopefully build a team around him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere because he's still a pretty young player. And, you can play baseball for a pretty long time. So the contract he gets is probably going to be north of 10 years, 8 to 10. So I'm predicting that. But as far as his season is concerned, there's only been a few players in MLB history that have finished the year with a 12 wins above replacement or a WAR. And I'm looking it up. It's Doc Gooden and Carl Yastrzemski. So Doc Gooden, obviously, Cy Young championship winner with the Mets back in the 80s. And then Carl Yastrzemski played for the Boston Red Sox. And both of those guys finished seasons with 12 wins above replacement or WAR. And Otani at this point is 12.1, I believe. So he could be the next guy to finish with a 12 WAR. So we're talking best player, best season ever for a guy. And he is awesome, man. Like I said, man, I think he's gonna surpass 500 million at least. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised because there are gonna be some big spenders looking for him. But the hometown discount is not gonna work for the Angels, man. He's not gonna do that. I don't think so. It would be a horrible career move, man. We've seen that in other sports. But like I said, he's wonderful, and the AL MVP is definitely his. So, um, now looking at some teams that are on the outside looking in, that spent a lot of money, man, in this offseason. But I'm looking at the Mets and the Padres in particular because they are those are teams that obviously spent a lot of money, and it's not that they spent the money, right? Because obviously they have the capital. Their owner, Steve Cohen, for the Mets, and AJ Preller for the GM for the Padres, they obviously are aggressive in their business. So they want to win, and spending money is how they do it. Or being aggressive on the trade market is how they do it. But it hasn't worked out this season. And what moves are you going to make down the stretch to kind of prepare yourself for next season? Because at this point, this season is a wash. You can't put it back in the bag. And it would take a run of God proportion to change their misfortunes this season, man. But can they make moves to prepare themselves for next season? Obviously, I think for the Mets, Edwin Diaz possibly returning, to full strength next season, I think will help them out. I think that hurt them going into this season because they felt like they could lock down a lot of these games that they're losing. But at the same time, Their struggles aren't really pitching. I think it's just cohesiveness. Honestly, they're just not gelling, man, and it's hard to watch because, like I said, it's some really, really good players, man. I don't care if they're old or young, but they just aren't gelling at all, man. But their catcher, the young catcher they have, uh, is really good. I really like Alvarez a lot, and I think he's gonna be a player for them to build around, man. He's I'm not gonna put a lot of pressure on him saying that he's a Mike Piazza type, but his offense is Mike Piazza esque, if that's what we can say. He definitely has the potential to be an offensive juggernaut at the catcher position. But obviously, at a catcher, you want your catcher to be able to assist in with the pitching staff, man. So that's one stride I want to see him do. That's a positive going into next season because, excuse me, he is going to be the catcher for them moving forward. Now, speaking on the Padres, obviously spending money in the offseason on Xander Bogaerts isn't looking like the best investment, at least at this point. So, what are you gonna do? Like, you have so many players that are making a lot of money, and obviously you want to build around Tatis, but there's always that trust issue with him. Has he grown up? You know what I'm saying? Can he be the leader? But so far, the leader of the team is definitely Machado. He's locked up for a while, and he's not going anywhere. But for them to make any moves, like you're gonna have to build around him until you can trust Tatis again. And as far as them getting their pitching, I think they made a mistake in my opinion. Getting Juan Soto, I think it was an aggressive move and it was exciting because that team was willing to risk it all. But I just don't think that the star power was worth getting rid of valuable pieces that can help you. Um, I didn't like getting rid of Mackenzie Gore. I didn't like getting rid of CJ Abrams and trading them to the Nationals to get Soto because those are pieces that can help you down the line. You know, like I don't know. And there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to sign Juan Soto either, even though I personally believe that his value has completely diminished a little bit. I mean, coming off that World Series with the Nationals, everything was sky high. He could easily have commanded a $400 million contract, and I wouldn't have batted an eye because he was that deal. But now a couple years pass and he's looking mortal in a sense. So what he's still a great player. That's not saying he's not, but what are they going to do with him? That would be my question to them. Because do you want to trade him for assets that can help you win next year to take over the Dodgers again? Or do you stay with him and run it back with the same team next year? I really don't know what you do at that point. But what I can say is they have some options to trade him or to keep him. But you gotta at least lock him up or something because I don't see what you can do other than that. But this season it's definitely a wash for those two teams. So as we start to close down this episode, um, I would like to look at the AL Central, man. It's really a log jam, man. This is a division that I think is only going to get one playoff team. But there's some teams, man. I mean, I'm looking at the Twins. I'm looking at the Guardians. I'm looking at the Tigers, man. Like those teams could literally overlap each other a few times to end the season. Now, the Tigers for me might be the outlier, but the division is close, man. Like it's not that far off, man. And with the Twins kind of teetering, and then Cleveland doing the same thing. I really don't know what to expect. But what I can say is if the Guardians get in there, they're going to be a tough out for anybody. If I had to pick any team to win this division, I think the Guardians have great pitching. I love their closer. Specifically, Emmanuel Clase is a he's a demon man out there on that mound, man, and he throws heat. And like I said, to quote my guy Mark DeRosa, he's punching tickets out there. And he's definitely somebody you don't want to face at the end of the game. But that's a division to watch you out there, people, because it's close. And like I said, this is the time where a team could make a move and it could change the whole division, or it could change nothing and they could just be losing assets. But it's interesting to watch these three teams and see what they do. Specifically, the Twins and the Guardians, because they are closer to playoff contention than the Tigers are at this point. But like I said, the Twins and the Guardians are and the Tigers and the AL Central is something to look forward to because it's gonna be a nice ride for those teams, man. I think they're gonna have a good finish, a photo finish this year. So like I said, so as we close this out, like I said, I love doing this, talking about various topics, man. But as we close out, my playoff predictions, man. Um, I think, and you know what? I won't even say playoff predictions. I would say the team that I think that's going to make it out of all the teams that I mentioned will probably be the Guardians. I think they are the team that's going to make it my surprise team to get in. And I think that the Reds might actually get in, man. I really think that they have something to prove. And whatever happens in the playoffs, going deep in the playoffs or even losing in the wild card or getting all the way to the World Series and winning it. Next season is big for them either way because they put the league on notice. And a lot of these younger teams are really balling out, man. It's good to see the scouting department doing what they need to do. They need some love from everybody because nothing sucks worse than losing 100 games at any point. And speaking of 100 losses, look at the Orioles, man. The Orioles lost 100 games a few years ago, and now they're fighting for the number one spot in the AL East. So that would be my sleeper team to win it all because that's a young team with nothing to lose and just out there playing baseball, man. And that's a dangerous team, man. If you're out there just having fun, you don't know what you don't even know what defeat is. You're just playing and then enjoying it. So I really would love to see them make a run in the playoffs and get, home field advantage at some point. I think Camden Yards needs it. It's been a rough few years of rebuilding, but now it looks good, and I like to see them doing it. So, like I said, man, that's the end of this update, this show today. So, like I said, always like, subscribe, follow, and we're gonna keep on getting better, man. This is Cam, one half of the Cam and D Sports Talk team, and like I said, thank you. Signing off.